Well, it's going to be a shorter episode today. So let's just get to the mailbag and then we'll say au revoir, which is French for fuck off. This is from Naomi. Hey guys,
Hey.
I'd usually start saying by saying something like long time listener, first time caller, but that would be two lies considering I've only recently discovered the pods and this is not a call.
Yeah.
I cannot honestly tell you how I found Tofop and Fofop. Hang on, have we done this before?
It's all right.
I'm certain that I'm not your core demo, being a 26-year-old female that works in criminal law. No, we haven't done this before.
No.
I'm not a lawyer, but I do love a wine. I'm not a doctor, but I do love a wine. We accept lawyers as well.
Lawyers are fine.
Like,
yeah.
in terms of like, you know, as we rank
And
our
criminal
listeners.
law, handy.
Yeah. Very handy for us when we get sued for our meggings, which cut off circulation to people's ankles. I just wanted to
These
say...
are the opposite of compression. For some reason, they have the opposite effect of compression.
I just wanted to say, whoever convinced you to put all the pods in one feed deserves a bonus.
Oh, okay.
I've never watched a game or a match or a test cricket in my life. I've always found the concept incredibly boring. However, I listened to both Two Guys, One Earn episodes the days they were released simply because they turned up on my new podcast feed. Well, the credit must go to Mike III.
Yes.
It was his idea. He looked at
The
all
mess.
the various podcasts we
the,
do.
the mess that we had created. It's
the unmitigated disaster that was Tofop Productions.
He looked at the cats that we had released into the room and he thought we should try to herd some of these cats.
Well, let's herd some of these together. Yeah, and to be honest, like it's the numbers have all gone up. Everything's been solidified. If we had known, if Marty McFly had come back in time and said to us in 2010, hey, you guys are going to want to do more of this in various, but just keep it all in the one feed.
Just keep it
Everyone knows
simple.
it's you. Just make it simple.
I mean, I was literally thinking that the other day about Willosophy. I was like, it just would be handy if Willosophy was just there as well. And then I wouldn't have to worry about separate feeds at all.
I've been listening since around when Mrs. Davis came out. There's obviously some things you discuss that I don't understand or relate to, but I find your perspectives really interesting. It also sometimes a reminder that all humans have some common experience, regardless of age, gender, career, or whatever. Are you talking about us or Mrs. Davis?
No, what us
We're
in
doing
relation to this criminal,
the audience.
Well,
Criminal
this
specific
criminal lawyer.
Naomi. Lastly, a big shout out to Podcast Mike. He seems like a bloody legend. Singing along to Country Road in the last ep made me smile. It was a real highlight of my day. What the hell are we talking about? See, here's what you need to know, Will, because I don't often listen to the shows afterwards, but Mike III does an incredible amount of post-production on the show that we've never had before. So often when you and I are talking and we'll reference something, Mike will quickly throw in a clip. He'll go through the archives or find the bit we're talking about and he'll play it for the audience. Other times he comments on the stuff we're doing. Like if we go rambling because we're doing a web page search and we can't find the website, he'll just fade us down and he'll fade himself up and he'll do a bit of commentary or play a bit of music or whatever. So there's all this stuff happening with the show that we don't know about.
Wow.
So I'm assuming that is not a podcast mic thing, but a mic thing. Just not a podcast.
One of the
mic.
mics. It'd be a mic.
Yeah.
Definitely a mic of some kind.
In fact, if you're a mic who listens to the show, write in.
How many
Let us
mics
know.
do we
Is that
have?
you?
Because I think I think we've obviously had more mics as producers than any other podcast. Well, at least our 100% producer rate, like the fact that they've all been called Mike. I mean, that's incredible. It's a streak that in the history of podcasts, I think has never happened before and will never be replicated again. But how many mics listen to the show? That's what I would like to know. If you're a
That's what we
mic,
should do. What name do you think would be
good.
the
This
most
is good
common
stuff.
Like male or female or whatever? I
think we've got to start with a marker, right? And so I think Mike should be our first experiment. So I think we need to find out how many mics. Well, mics are going to have to contact us. If you're a mic, you have to get in contact with us in some way.
But okay, so Mike the third, he seems to like being addressed as Mike. That's how he introduces himself. I don't know that podcast Mike. I think he's Michael, but we gave him the moniker.
Well, no, he was Radio Mike.
Radio Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we qualify though? Is it just anyone called Michael, or is it someone who has to?
Oh no. I mean, you can be a Mike, a Michael. I'd accept a Mick or a Mickey. Like, I mean, if you're in
Mika?
a Mika, yeah, sure, why not? I'm happy with a Mika.
I don't like the parameters of this. You're bent. I gave you the first bloody variable and you immediately yielded to it. I don't like it. We should go back and just torturing kids.
Mikey, you can be a Mikey, you can be a macchiato. No, okay, Mike. Let's just start with Mikes and Michaels. If you are a Mike or a Michael, please get in contact with us.
How? That seems like a really inefficient way to run this. Don't get in contact because then we just got all these disparate like emails. Like we need to run a poll somehow.
No,
it's a survey.
First, we first just have to find out how many mics we have, and then that's our poll leader. So, like, I mean, we can say like Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Like, we can do a bit of a random poll of like, you know, how many mics we've got so that we could like go say we've got 14 mics. Let's just say, listening to this podcast, there's 14 mics. And then we know that that's our, we've got 14 mics.
That's our benchmark.
That's our bench. It's our bench mic, not benchmark. We need a bench mic. And I believe it is just, what's the best way for people to get in contact if they're
can I offer an alternative way of doing this? Is that we look at the demographics of where our audience is based. So we're predominantly in Australia, with the US being our second biggest market. Wouldn't we just look at recent kind of polling census of those two markets and see what the most common name is? And then you would just...
do a rough approximate... No, thank you.
You want hard data.
This is the problem with the like scientific partnership that like one person's like no.
If we both had a kink, if it was more sexual that you and I just got off on mics, then we'd be in complete agreement on
You've got a box full of rats. I've got some electronic equipment.
Let's get started. I'm about to midnight climax. All right. Okay. So let's
get in touch if your name is Mike. That's all I want to know first. Let's just find out how many Mikes or Michaels there are. In the same way as doctors have been getting in touch.
But get in touch how? Like messages, like go to the website, go to tofop.com and send us
an email.
Message. Just
send us an email to the show. I'm a Mike.
All right. Let's make it easy. Yeah. Go to tofop.com and just put in the subject line, I'm a Mike or a Mika or a Mick.
Right.
Or a, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever you are. But if you consider yourself to be a Mike, then
does Michelle count?
I mean, I think that you've at some stage, like your name, I don't know, like you decide.
If you've ever been addressed as a Mike.
If you're listening to this and you consider yourself to be a Mike,
then get in touch. Go to tofop.com. There's a little contact form. You can send us an email, but just in the subject line, just write down, what did I say? I'm Mike? I'm a Mike.
Yeah, I mean, something to do with Mike.
I'm Mike. I apostrophe M. I'm Mike. Just so I can search it easier, so I can compile them. And then next week. Oh, it won't be next week. It'll be 2 weeks from now because we're 2 weeks ahead. When this goes out, I'll be able to total up the marks, and that will be our bench mic.
Right. Good.
Okay. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.